Let's move on to the final topic of the panel. We're going to talk about our favourite Korean, our favourite captain, Heung-min Son. And we'll start off with you, Ash. Do you think that if Son carries on this form from now to the end of the season, he's in with a shout of winning Player of the Year in the Premier League this year?
Oh, it's a hard one because to win Player of the season in the Premier League, you're probably going to end up winning some type of honors. So when you take that into consideration, it's going to be a tall order, in my opinion. However, Hans got Manager of the Year for London's awards, and so did a Vicario for Goalkeeper of the Year. So it depends who's doing the voting. If it's players, it might be different. Journalists will have a different opinion, and fans will, of course, they will have a different opinion. Um, but yeah, I mean, if he gets close to Golden Boot, or if he gets the Golden Boot and he carries on the assists as well, because I think a lot of people are sleeping on how creative Son's been this season. The amount of key passes that he's done, the amount of through balls he's done, like he's actually changing the role of the number nine as a wide forward or an inside forward, whatever you want to call it. Basically, Son being on the shoulder, no more. He's starting to do what Kane's doing in terms of dropping in deep in that number 10 role, and he's finding players, maybe not to the level of Kane. Obviously, Kane had that, wonder of a foot when he spray passes across the pitch. I'm not talking that level, but in the final third, he's able to contribute and help his other teammates out, get goals like obviously against Villa, he got the two assists and a goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, if he continues with that type of GA, then he's gonna be definitely in a lot of fans' voices. A lot of fans already are saying to me like, Son's been one of your best players. They stood up from the Champions League days. They were like, why is no one not rating Son? He's got to be the most underrated player in the Premier League. These are non-Spurs players, Spurs fans that are saying this. So Son is admired around the league. He's Mr. Nice Guy, but at the same time, now he's put the armband on. I feel like he's having an extra responsibility, and I feel like he's stepping up to that mark as well. He's not just like hiding in games. He's actually becoming that man where you can lean on Son and he can get you out. He's done it in the big games as well. So
Yeah.
because of our run against Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool in a row, those are 3 games that he has scored in. So he is a big game player. And if he does that again this season, they're going to have no choice but to look at him. Do you know what I mean? Especially if we start to get W's, like, dare I say it, you know what I'm saying? Or if we come away with a point and he's involved in a lot of those plays, then yeah, definitely. And like I said before, Sonny, Sonny's a man now. He's getting to that tender age of his career where, like, he's saying to himself, what can I achieve now? I'm at that level. I'm 31. I'm going to be 32 soon. I need to start to have something to show for it. So he's going to want to push on all front to kind of get his name where it needs to be. I think he's our 5th joint top goal scorer of all time. That for me says enough, bro. Like, the, all agendas, what people have against him, put that aside. Like, that is a massive achievement. Like, we're talking like top players in that position. So yeah, for me, it's he's gonna be in a conversation, but it's gonna be hard if he's not showing armpits at the end of it. So
Yeah, it's also not only our 5th top goal scorer of all time, but only 7 behind top assister in the Premier League era as well, which is mad to think about. By the end of his Spurs career, he could be in the top 3, top 4 goals of all time, and the top assister in the Premier League era as
he
well.
will
Which
be. He will be. He will be. He will be. Trust me in that, because he's got I think another 2 seasons in him. I'll be real. And I think I hope in the summer that we buy correct for that front 3, and we're not always having to rely on a Son, and we save his legs so we prolong his career. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
But yeah, in terms of a captain putting that armband on, I felt like he's taken that extra responsibility. A lot of people argue that they don't think he's a captain, they don't think he's a leader. But against Aston Villa at the end of the game, I saw what he was doing with Romero. Them two were going at it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Those are the type of things I want to see on a regular, especially with big games. I want to see him, lead from the front. and make himself an example. So, yeah.
And I think what you're saying about, people saying he's not a leader. I think people were saying that maybe in the build up to the season when he got that armband, but I don't think anyone's saying that anymore. I think it's there for all to see what a great leader this man is. But Brian, what's your take? Do you think that he could potentially get that award?
Do you know what? I would love him to, and I think he's, like Ashmatic says, he's definitely got to be in the conversation. But you look at it, when he actually did win the Golden Boot with Mo Salah, and it was what I think he got 1 or 0 penalties compared to Salah. He weren't even in the equation. He weren't even put in Team of the Year. I don't know what it is. And the thing I've loved about Son, we talk about what he's brought on captain wise, and I went back and did a deep dive this season on, and one thing he's picked up on, and I don't know if it's only me just noticing this season, he has completely upped his game on his movement.
Yeah.
His movement off the ball. I didn't realise when we just speaking about Johnson created the assist for Werner, everyone started talking about Son's movement off the ball. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I went back, looked at it, and was like, his footballing IQ. And then I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. When you and me, Ben, were at Burnley, he stayed back behind for Manor Solomon. And I went back looking at all our goals around his movement. Forget his assists, forget his lethal finishing, like the goal he scored against Palace, and it's a goal as soon as he's 1-on-1. His actual movement off the ball has gone up ridiculous levels. He has obviously worked hard at this, or Andrew's been telling him whatever it may be. He's added facets to his game. He's added tools to make him a better player. He's obviously back amongst the goals after the horror show of last season, but most of the team did. He's got, 14 Premier League goals this season already. He has been a fantastic player this season, one of the best in the league. I think he's an absolutely inspirational captain. Some of the things he's done to make the team more whole, the relationship with the fans, the huddles, the talking to them. As an overall player and what he's brought to the Premier League this season, he is 100% has to be in the conversation. But unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get it, just because based on when he did get the Golden Boot, he weren't even discussed. So I think he's definitely got to be in the equation and the conversation. I just don't think the Premier League will give it to him.
And you look back at, United's treble-winning season. David Ginola picked up 2-time PFA Player of the Year award that year for nowhere near the amount of goal contributions that Heung-min Son is providing. But I do think those days are kind of long gone. You look at all these years where Harry Kane has been clearly the best player in the league, and he's been in the conversation, but he's not been winning it. So as much as Son might deserve it, I just don't think he is going to win it, because Spurs aren't probably going to win anything this season, and it usually does go to one of the players that do win it. I'm looking at maybe a Rodri if City win it, Declan Rice potentially if Arsenal win the league. So yeah, unfortunately, I think it will come a bit too much for Heung-min Son to take home that prize. But whether he wins it or not, do you think he deserves it at this point in the season, Tim?
I think he's probably been the best striker. I mean, when you talk about who the top strikers have been, obviously Haaland is on 18 goals, but I do think Son's all-round game has been stronger than his, in my opinion. Obviously, Watkins is having a great season as well, but I think I do think Son's kind of got a goal contribution to game ratio is slightly better than him, even though Watkins is on 26 goal contributions at the moment. Son's got 22 in 24 games, which is absolutely ridiculous. Although the one who you maybe argue isn't maybe getting enough credit here is Mo Salah, who's got 24 goal contributions in 22 games. So he's doing very well, and obviously Liverpool top of the league. So if not top of the league, second in the league, they've been top for a while, but they've
we can say they're top of the league. It's better with me.
I'd rather say that, yeah. So obviously Liverpool go on to win the league or be in the top 2 or something, or if they just miss out, and Salah keeps up that kind of ratio, it's going to be really difficult to overlook him. But I think Heung-min Son definitely deserves to be nominated. I definitely think if we have an unbelievable end to the season and obviously get in the top 4 and maybe even push the top 3 or something like that, and he ends up with over 30 goal contributions or even pushing that, I definitely think I wouldn't completely rule it out, because he's been so imperative to how Spurs play in terms of his pressing from the front, his movement, as Brian's been saying, he's the best finisher in the league. But I think, as Ash is saying, people are sleeping on how much his overall game when it comes to getting assists and bringing other players into play has been not credited enough, I feel like, because I feel that was the one thing that many people had when it came to reservations about him being a proper number 9. Is he good with his back to goal? Is he going to be able to bring players into play? Is he going to be too selfish? Is he going to be crowded out by centre-backs and stuff like that? Is he going to be too easy to mark? And I think he's completely switched that up this season when it comes to all those elements. I think he's become an unbelievable number 9 now. I think his stats since he's gone into the number 9 now this season read 14 games, 11 goals and 4 assists. I think those stats just speak for themselves when it comes to how effective he's been as a number 9. I think he's definitely got a brilliant shout. In terms of consistency, he's been remarkable this season. I feel like he gets goal contributions so regularly. So I definitely think he deserves to be nominated for Player of the Year. If he carries on this kind of form, I wouldn't completely rule it out. But as you say, they do usually give it to people who win the competition. So that makes it definitely unlikely. But if he completely explodes and that has, 20 goal contributions in his last 10 games, something like that, I wouldn't completely rule it out.
Just a big if.
Yeah, you never know. Sonny's capable of it. He's capable of it. But I do probably find it unlikely, but I think he definitely should be nominated for Player of the Year for sure.
Yeah,
I think he's been unbelievable.
100%. And all those facets you're talking about, that's what elite players do. As they get older, as they progress, they add different elements to their game. You look at Cristiano Ronaldo when he was on the left wing, transitioned into a striker at this kind of point of his career. And I feel like Sonny is doing exactly the same. And what a player we have on our hands. Mr. Box Office with a super chat for you, Brian. I saw you laughing at it. I think you were laughing at that before. He says, Brian, Son has won nothing, so he's not that great. What would you say to that?
What did I say to that? Mr. Box Office, Mr. Professor of Truth and Entertainment,
Mr.
Alex,
Post Office, more like today.
Who I love dearly. Based on that logic, Stefan Everson has won a Worthington Cup. Does that mean he's better than Son?
Ryan Bertrand has won the Champions League.
Yeah, I don't get it. Listen, the fact that Son hasn't won anything, and the list of Spurs players that I could list, and we could all list, it is absolutely criminal. It's absolutely criminal. But we all know we've been in places, and then when we could have pushed, we haven't. Yada yada yada. The fact that Heung-min Son hasn't won a trophy, or players that don't win a trophy, doesn't reflect on whether they're great, world-class, good, average, bad players. I could give you the 2008 and 1999 cup-winning teams. There's a lot of players in there that have won a trophy that are not great or are not good, but they've got silverware. So I think Stefan Everson needs to go back and protest about getting a Ballon d'Or based on Alex's logic.
Absolutely, but I think that brings a nice end to the show. I want to thank Brian and Ashmatic for coming on today. Brian, let the people know what is coming up on Tottenham on Tour this week.
Tottenham on Tour this week, daily stuff from Ben with the Morning Brews and Cockerel Doodle Doo. I am going to try and do a couple of pre-recorded things because I can't commit to lives right now. Apart from Andrew Management after we've taken 3 points against Fulham, please God. So yeah, check us out on Tottenham on Tour.
Ashmatic, Spurs Kings, what's happening this week?
Got a show tonight. Just a little breakdown of the Villa game and looking ahead as well. We've also got the Rival show. We're doing a Rival show, so we invited a few other Premier League fans on to get their views on the league title and Spurs itself. And then we've got preview shows coming up as well, and then post-match shows also after Fulham, just like you guys. So yeah, man, look out for Spurs Kings. A lot of things going on.
Everyone go and subscribe to these great Spurs channels, Spurs Kings and Tottenham on Tour. That is it from us today. Thank you everyone out there for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.